Awesome. We are here with Kekfila, the man himself.
Wait just a sec. We are here with the man Kekfila. After his store Treasure Cup win, we bring him on to show us his black-yellow Luffy. But who cares, you're just here for the deck list. So skip to the end to take a look. Now back to the video.
Real quick, I will say this is a hard follow-up to blue-green Sanji Zoro deck profile that also went 4-0. This is going to be a tough one to beat, but I'll do my best. Let's go into that. I just went 4-0, winning a local, a little bit more competitive, I suppose, winning a Perona.
There we go. Are you going to be putting that in the deck?
No. This is going to get on the shelf or in my wallet.
Oh, fair. You're like, I made it, I did it, and there we go. My waifu build-up.
Yep. We'll go into this. If that's okay?
Yeah, we'll go into it.
And then we'll go into matchups and all that.
For sure. Go for it, my man.
So number one, I use these 10 Don. I use all different manga Don or random stuff. This one's my favorite, but that's just a small side story.
All right. Would you change any of these Dons?
Yeah, actually, I would. I would probably change a couple of them. Sanji is usually not my favorite Don to look at, but it's just kind of what it is. I'll never play two of the same Don.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just kind of
it's your little spicy tech.
It is supposedly, yeah. With that, let's just jump on the deck profile. The main first thing, and I'll kind of go over the spicy parts right now. Everyone already kind of knows Kuzan's a staple at this point.
Yeah, very staple card.
Playing two of these is really good. And the card I am playing now, which I'm considering bumping up, is actually an Isho.
Isho, the man. Yeah, after yesterday and today's, we even sat on stream, we're like, wait, he's playing Isho. Yeah. It's one card you don't expect in a black-yellow Luffy, especially because we saw you like show your opponent like, oh, look what I had right here. What is it a card that really helps you out, or is it something that, because you said you're bumping it up?
It's an intermediate card, right? And I feel like in the mirror, it can mean like a whole lot, right? It just more, if I bump it up, it just means I want to see it more.
Yeah,
right?
Fair.
But like, there are times you just don't really want to see it at all. I don't think I want to play it right now until at least Nationals.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of like sold a little bit. It's kind of Frankenstein-y to even see this.
Yeah.
But it's just a 9K body at the very worst.
Fair.
And hopefully to just chew your opponent's cards. This will never, actually, I feel like your opponent's never going to be at 5 cards in hand. And you're going to play this. Like I had one scenario that's happened today against Law. I could have played this, but I decided not to because he only had 5 in hand.
Yeah.
So
there's no point.
That's the case. Plus, the -3 is actually relative. Your opponent plays any 7 cost or less, then it's easy to remove.
So at the end of the day, it's for sure a situational game. Is it a great card to play against mirror matches?
Yeah.
Just reduce their hand.
Black-Yellow Luffy's already breaking a lot, and that makes them break like a whole lot more. So
very true. All right, let's see it.
Gecko Moria. If anyone knows about Gecko Moria, it's pretty much the deck. I really wish they would just ban this card so this deck would just go in the trash. But unfortunately, we're probably stuck with it forever.
Yeah, and Blackbeard coming up. It's going to be not that strong anymore. Just negate its effect. You're like, okay, fair.
Next, we actually have 2 Ice Ages. This is just for more reducers. This is primarily for the body matchup.
Yeah.
This actually helps in every matchup, funny enough. Like it does have a lot of great tempo, especially if you're at less than 10 Dawn and you can't Gecko Moria, or if you have all the little babies and you can't just do that without Gecko Moria, you're fine.
Yeah, and in this deck, personally, like the 2 Ice Age and any other black deck, I've seen them just reduce it to 1, just because they already have like so many like reduction situations. But in Black-Yellow Luffy, it's such a good card, like a good staple on the side. In worst case scenario, you just pull that your Luffy pop stuff. It helps out in so many situations.
You have to kind of put the fear in your opponent if you're going to play that or something else.
You really do. So continue.
With that, we do play 4 Garbs for consistency.
4 Garb.
And then we actually play 2 Event Searchers. Some people drop this to 0. I still play it at 2 at least because you kind of want to be the most consistent deck, and that's the biggest problem it has is not seeing big guys in the deck.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if you don't need it, you just ditch it with Sabo's Effect or any other like ditch cards. It's great like free ditcher so that we can keep more 2K counters or more viable cards in your hand.
Yeah. With that, we actually have 3 little ace and 3 big ace. And the main thing with this, I kind of talked about it on stream a little bit, is that this combo is primarily here just so you don't accidentally become like a 7K leader.
Yeah.
So you can actually combo out and do things. The rush actually means a whole lot against Nami and Bonnie.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing really wrong with the 5-7 rush. It's broken, right? Realistically, But
why not?
when we're comparing it to the value of a Sabo or these Luffys, now you start asking yourself a question. It's not very good into the mirror, but at the very least, it lets you just use your leader skill. So that's kind of the point.
Fair.
With that, of course, just play for the Sabo. We don't play the yellow Sabo that KOs, even though that is pretty decent in the mirror. But we just play this and then 4 of the main Sabo.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a card you're looking for. This
For
game
sure.
gets really scary if you don't see one of these at some point.
Makes sense.
But it's a card you always rely on.
Yeah,
You can literally be at like one
especially you can do them back-to-back situation with the Gecko Moria summons. Like seeing in that final round where you guys were having a Moria battle and you saw 3 in the total and you're constantly having your Sabos on board.
Yeah. I think a big thing too, people need to like think about. I think in order to really guarantee win, it's really good. You want to play at some point have 2 Sabos on the field at all times, so your opponent's forced to always play a waiting turn, and never a pressure turn. If you have 1 Sabo, then they can like swing 14-14, and then make your life a living hell.
Yeah.
If you could just double Sabo 1 turn, and then you're pretty much set if you have the other Gecko.
Very true.
With that, we also have just 4 of the little Luffy, and we're playing a 3 rocket actually.
Ooh, 3 rocket.
3 rocket.
Okay.
I thought this was too little at first, but it's not used in every situation in the current meta, especially that fact that Zabo exists.
Yeah, especially going into like so many black matchups. Even if you're a favorite Lucci matchup, like they just bring 1 Sabo out, you can't KO this stuff. So your Luffy's become a bit more like useless in a sense, but makes sense on the 3. And then you're running 4 of the 5 drop other Luffy's from starter, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is the card you're usually always looking for in order to actually make your engine work. I actually, to talk about the mulligan a little bit, this is the card I use if I see this. I won't mulligan unless I don't have a good combo of other things.
Okay.
But this will usually end up being like the card you're going to be wanting to play. It's really funny. You usually either don't see them at all or you see too many of them, and it makes it really awkward.
Fair.
But I found too, it's one of just the best hard plays. Just play that's hard play and then use a skill. But I do want to give one advice for people. Maybe don't use this as soon as you play it. Like maybe wait the turn and not use it. Like because your opponent could put you into like weird situations unless you're against like things like reduce your power and kill it, right? But like law, generally that's just what it is. It's a good Luffy. Plus, obviously, we talk about Luffy. I talk about it now. The 7-drop on Nell is actually good, but now it's just shut down by this.
Yeah.
So, with that, the last thing are just the 2Ks. I do play 2 Makino.
Okay.
And I do play 4 Hiyori, 4 Flampe. Small note on basically all these. I mean, Flampe is like Hiyori's like the best card.
No, it really is. It's such a staple for a lot of yellow decks.
Well, it allows you to at some point become like a 7K leader in the middle of the game with life, or even in the best case scenario when you're like at 9 Dawn or 8 Dawn, you can become a 9K leader with 1 life. And that's actually really necessary for blue and other matchups, just because they do have things like Diablo Jampe, cards like this, right? So you do want to actually keep a life most of the time. I find myself doing that almost every game. And the one card I want to talk about, you did ask on stream, was the Ivankov. When it comes to Ivankov, it's just I'd rather just play more Makinos for the to get myself to 0.
Fair.
And Makino, she's usually never played, but lately, if I have nothing else to do, this ends up being like one of the better cards. Funny enough, because it is like a high roll split.
Yeah.
Most of the time, your shit's garbage. Like,
pretty much.
in your life. But other than that, one tip I'd like to do, I always grab the bottom life for some reason now. I never got the top one. It's always a thing where the bottom life is always garbage and the top life is always really
broken,
good.
Right?
So,
I've run into those moments where like, I needed that in my life.
I decided
didn't need
to switch it up. I'm always grabbing the bottom life unless it's face-up life.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I've caught myself doing one time. Like, wait, I can't grab that. Yeah, did you, I guess we go into matchups? Is that what you'd like me to
of course. Yeah, we're going into some matchups now. What was first round for you? What was first round?
Well, let me give some preamble.
Okay.
If I can. I had yesterday, I went to Game Grid North Salt Lake, and I ended up my main loss was against a Bonnie, which is already a bad matchup, but I high rolled against him, but then I threw it like so hard. Like, unbelievable throw. Basically, sequencing was absolutely terrible. I didn't get sharked or anything like that. It was just, I sequenced it so fucking awful. So I had nightmares last night of just Isho. I have no idea. I think I was like thinking my deck was wrong.
He told me yesterday on the interview, he was like, yeah, he summoned an Isho. And I was like, okay. And he's like, he probably like didn't like think the right move on that and anything. And we're getting that clarification here, and so it's great.
And I do want to say, when it comes to that too, remember the read your cards is a 5 cost. He KOs 4 cost. I usually only call him for 2. But I write down, every time I make a mistake, I write down on my notes on my app, like the mistake.
Yeah.
Right? So that's just kind of what I do.
Yeah. And you're becoming a Yu-Gi-Oh player. You're not reading your cards.
Exactly. So today, round 1, I faced an L. Then an L, I honestly just saw like a Kuzan and an Isho early.
Yeah.
He had to remove the Isho, but this Kuzan was gross. I was able to remove their Katakuri, and then the following turn to play the Yamato, I used an Ice Age, and I removed the Yamato.
No.
And so essentially, he was kind of crippled from there. Didn't have any big bodies, and eventually, I built my board just one. So that's the removal is actually really good against them, because usually that's not the game plan, but that was my game plan for some reason. Just the way it ended up. The second game I played against the Lucci, and he attacked me. Generally, it's not a good idea to attack a Luffy. Maybe one attack, but they wanted to fill their trash up for some reason, so they can Lucci and kill my bodies on curve. But then they had no trash later, so it ended up like hurting them in the long run to do either or.
Yeah,
they just. The problem with Lucci is it has no mid-game play. Like, your best mid-game play is like literally playing a Sabo or the 4-drop to draw 2, discard 2.
Pretty much, yeah.
But then I ended up seeing like too many Gecko Morias and just went out to just playing double Sabo and then Sabo Luffy every turn.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. Yeah, and yeah, we weren't able to see that one on stream, but that round 3, we saw you against red purple law, right?
Yeah.
That one, it was
very
very
good game. It
was it's crazy how it all ended up, but it worked out on your end. It worked perfectly, even after you having no cards in hand. You're like, counter.
Yeah, actually, I almost took the last damage.
You really did?
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking, but you could swing 8. I only have 1K counter in my hand. I almost took it. Like I'm good either way, right? Like so I just discarded. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I almost kept my Gecko Moria. So to go into that matchup too, and law in general, I find myself going first is actually better, because if they just rush me down and they go first, and they see like 2 kid killers, I'm probably cooked. So I take that away by doing that. But he chose second because he won the die roll.
Yeah,
which he actually ended up kind of high rolling me, getting a full board out there. But I was just able to perfectly curve out. But the problem is, even if you curve out, if they keep bottom decking your Sabos, you need to see a second Sabo, which I luckily saw off the top of my deck. After I said, "Oh, can I do something different?" But I still have the same thing. Yeah. But I needed to see those cards because I had all the babies in hand, but I didn't have the big guys in my trash in my hand because I only had Luffy's.
Yeah.
I had too many Luffy's. No, I've had an ace. I'd actually be fine there too. But I was able just to sit there at the big moment. I had to be like a 7K leader. That happens actually way too often. You have to be a 7K leader in order to kind of win the game from there. But yeah, I was able to eke it out because essentially I think I killed a kid, right? Yeah. Because I could have attacked his leader. Yeah. That last attack, I don't know if you know if I was attacking his leader or his kid. Yeah, I attacked the kid killer.
Yeah, we well, obviously it was like late game. We're like, might as well start pushing him for that life, and no, there was a way. Yeah, he really was. Like, and everyone on the stream, like, if Kekfila like lasts this turn, the red purple loss for sure losing. Yeah. But no, and then it worked out perfect, and it worked out just like that.
It was literally 1K counter.
Literally, even on me on stream, I'm like, damn it, like, all right, Kekfila lost, and then we're like, wait, he has not enough done. Oh, Kekfila's making a comeback.
Yeah, he's literally actually one done short. Yeah, I would say
literally just one more done, and he could have handled. And
yeah. I mean, I think I'm thinking about that back to those games. Those are the games where I like normally lose, and I just make a mistake, and I just get so frustrated with myself. But that game I played 3 near perfect, but I had to like. It's always lucky to like search and find the cards you need.
Very true.
So.
Awesome. Yeah. And then your final round, it was against Lucci. It was the battle of Morias. It was the battle of who can keep their board presence and who was summoning Sabos.
Some funny preamble. There's Sawyer. He has like a little oxygen thing. Yeah. I said at the beginning of the game, like, bro, I need to win this so I can afford rent. I'm trying to make the oxygen guy feel bad for me. That's what I was trying to say. Oh, no. But this is so stupid. Yeah. Just trying to be funny. But obviously I have a really good matchup, and I honestly just drew 3 Morias in the middle of the game. So I was able just to Moria. And
Yeah.
he told me he could deal with 2 Morias, he thinks. Because he
But
removed the first one.
Yeah, we saw that like with that zombie Luffy, right?
Yeah, well, he
and then
used
the
zombie
follow up
Luffy.
with the Brook.
Yeah, he's used Zombie Luffy to get rid of my big Luffy.
Yeah.
And then he used the Brook to get rid of my Gecko.
Yeah.
He had a stage in his hand, which is actually an insane play.
Yeah, it really
but
is.
he really just made room so I could play 2 more
Yeah,
Geckos.
really,
so-
yeah. And especially on that last matchup, even Jonathan Jobs, he was saying like that Ace is very menacing in that life right there. Like
Yeah.
like Ace sometimes isn't like the key card to go for in a lot of these Black Yellow Luffys, but when you see it in life and it's face up, all right, I need to be worried about that because if I don't get rid of that now, it's going to be hitting me later. And it ended up like for sure making that appearance on that final turn and everything. But
Funny
continue.
enough, I almost thought about making my leader at 11K that turn.
Really?
Yeah, because I could have.
Sure, yeah, no, we saw the plays and it was there. Like,
But I was like, well, let's just not troll too hard. So.
yeah, let's not reach too far. Like, let's
Yeah.
stay a little bit more humble, and we can like stay more consistent on this. But even though like that 11K, it would have been a scary presence. They probably could have built a bit more board instead of like doing anything else.
The big winner was just seeing 2 Sabos, realistically.
Oh yeah, you constantly had him. You always had him on that left side. You're like, all right, stack.
Yeah.
You already know this is my Sabo section. Like this is where they're gonna keep staying. You may get rid of one, I may block, but there's still gonna be 2 by the end of my turn every turn.
Yeah, that was always the goal. Make sure I have 2 Sabos, and if you have 2 Sabos, they don't.
Yeah, the
they-
Rob
they can't
Lucci's
do
just a
anything.
swinger. It's a vanilla at that point.
Yeah. It's really rough for them.
Yeah. But any last thoughts or anything that would you switch up anything in this deck or anything like
I'm
that?
thinking about making room for like one more E-show.
that
but, like,
E-show.
honestly, that's probably a little too troll. Like I'd have to go to like a big local and see like what everyone's playing.
Fair.
And Nationals, I'm most likely playing probably something really close to this list. The E-show's probably troll, but I kind of like the SP. I just bought it today.
Yeah,
So
the little T
I said
situation.
if I win, I'm going to buy it. So I bought it beforehand and then I won.
There you go. You see, it was like you had to. It was part of the destiny. It was war for
Yeah.
sure. Awesome. Other than that, and any
Shout-outs?
Yeah,
Oh,
let's
yeah.
do shout outs.
My YouTube channel, Kekfila. I also have Patreon, Kekfila, where I just do guides and stuff, usually with better players than me. So there's at least one good player on, but right now everything's going really well. Shout out to Broly Games for hosting this. Shout out to Kayfabe Cards for
Thank you very
hosting
much.
the tournament as well. I want your channel to grow too.
We're trying. We're doing our best.
Yeah.
We're going to be starting to do future events.
Yeah.
We're going to do future events online and everything. We want to be one of these big stores doing big events.
Yeah.
And we'd love to have you more on our streams because you love the commentation and you love putting in the input.
That's what we should do. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But other than that, thank you very much, Kekfila. We will have this up on maybe on your Patreon as well. You can have this on there so that way your people can see your deck list and your trolling moments and everything. But thank you very much again for coming
All right,
on.
thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Take care, Sage.
Bye-bye.